Hey, chickadees, welcome to today's episode of Mojo Mysticism. So, this week has been an interesting week. It's been really a lot about how do we love our life and fall in love with our life, and then how do we become activated with the cosmos. And it's been interesting. So, we've had 3 days of this so far. So, let's see. So, we're going to continue to pull from the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, and see what today's message is. So as always, I'm just going to ask all of our guides to participate and provide cards that will. There's the first one out. So cards that will be appropriate for us on whatever day we watch this, no matter when it is. So the first card has come out, like I said. Let's see where the second card is. Whoa, second card came out and said, "Here I am," and flipped over and everything. And also said, the second card is out too with me, or the third card. So there we go. All right, well, they overachievers today, aren't they? So, okay, so let's see what we have. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Okay, so the first card is baby steps. We saw this, was it 3 days ago? I don't remember. The first day this week, baby steps came out. So Monday, whenever that was. This is Thursday. I think this is Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. So baby steps. Action. Follow your intuition before it makes sense. Baby steps. Second card that came out is the Great Severing. This card talks about Mars energy, anger, conflict, and softening to love. The Great Severing. And then the third card that came out is the Golden Children. This is inner child, tenderness, innocence, and rare gifts. So the Golden Children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, and rare gifts. So, the message, really interesting. So, earlier in the week, we saw the card about it. Not everyone's for you, or you're not for everyone. So everyone might be for you, but you are not for everyone. I'm not for everyone. And this card is saying that we are the golden children, right? So our invitation is to really connect with our inner child, be very, very tender with them, understand how that inner child is there to serve you, and celebrate the gifts that inner child has and bring them forward into who you are today. So, and it's interesting because that's the third card. So the first card is that baby steps, following that intuition before it makes sense. This is just a reminder to do the thing we were asked to do on Monday, which was to take these baby steps, right? To understand that when intuition comes, the blanks are not all filled in. So right now, the other thing it's saying is that the baby steps that we're taking are towards unveiling our golden children, that golden child inside of each of us that is waiting to be introduced to the world, or more aspects of that golden child introduced to the world. And oftentimes, what that will mean is another thing we see a lot on this channel, which is allowing things that are no longer serving us to go, right? And to move away from anger and that conflict and really soften that into a place of love. So even when you have a conflict with someone or something or a situation, to really allow yourself to move through that anger. We don't push any emotions away here, so we're not doing that. You're going to move through that anger knowing that you're going to come to a place where you can soften into love, right? And we don't want to act out of the anger, at least not most of the time. Sometimes it makes sense to act out of anger, but oftentimes it makes much more sense to get to that place where you soften to love so that you can have that loving communication with that other person that, in some cases may send them off and in some cases may not, but whatever that is, and softening also to love around situations it's easy. This is also why they say hindsight is 2020, right? Because once you move from a situation, you can clearly see how that situation, job, whatever the case may be, person, whatever it is, was not for you to begin with, and you just didn't see it. So I recall having, I've had a few jobs where that's been the case. I'll just say that. Now, thank God I work for myself, so I enjoy that very much. However, it doesn't mean that we don't have people, people are like, oh, isn't it great? You're your own boss. And I'm like, actually, no, I'm not. Every one of my clients is my boss. So there's that. Do I have more control over my time? I do. So, but the idea of really, when I was in positions where it was not a fit, and there was a total energetic mismatch with that firm, in that case, architecture firms, that's where I worked most of my life, or architecture engineering firms. It was just important that for me, it was important that before I left that organization, that I came to terms with what was really going on. And so, my last employer, that was not the case. That was a different, I wanted to come out and do my own thing and have my own firm. And so that is why I made that decision. But there were some employers along my history and my path to get here today where it just was not a good match at all. And I stayed probably longer than I should because I didn't believe that the universe had something more appropriate for me lined up. And when I knew that it's interesting because if I were back there today, I would make different decisions earlier. So, right? That's why hindsight's 2020. So, but this reading today is just really kind of reiterating that we are golden children. We are children of the light, right? We are these beautiful beings that we get to nurture. Our inner child is not just our inner child from a psychological standpoint, but our inner child is also the one that knows everything intuitively. So when we are born into this earth, we are highly tuned antennae, right? We can commune with the divine, with the universe constantly, and we have to go through a process of forgetting that. So we start that process before we come in, but we have to finish it once we're here. And that usually happens in the first few years of our lives. It's the thickening of the veil of forgetting. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to thin it, right? Once we understand we can thin it and we become interested in the possibility of thinning it, then we spend the rest of our lives trying to thin that veil. That is what core that's coming out soon is all about. So that teaching will be coming out, and it'll help you understand where you're at on that process, which is the entire point. My guide said, all we want to tell, the only thing that really matters is knowing where you're at on that cycle. Like everything else takes care of itself. But the great severing is really coming to terms. So yesterday we saw the I'm sorry card. The great severing is related to that. It is a stronger energy in this card than what we saw yesterday with the right your wrong actions, right? Become defenselessness, forgive and be forgiven, that sort of thing. This is a stronger, kind of deeper communication about that very same thing, right? So understanding that we also cannot get where we're going if we're angry. So I spent a lot of years being angry, and I'm sure most of you have done some time being angry too. And then those baby steps, just instead of the thing that they're kind of telling us around baby steps today is that give yourself permission to take baby steps. Give yourself permission to just do a little bit. And do not take on the guilt of not doing more. And that's what they want to tell us today. Be confident and be secure in the fact that if you're taking a baby step, that's all you need to do. Because they will add up, and they will add up sooner and quicker than you think. So don't feel guilty about not being able to do more or not having time or choosing not to do more, just do the thing. Just do one little thing, one little baby step, and they will add up very quickly over time. And so that's the message they really want us to get out of baby steps today, which is a little different than what we got on Monday. It's another aspect of it. So, all right. Still want you to move. They still want you to move, and they still want me to move when intuition hits. Don't wait. Don't wait. Okay? When that question comes in, that call comes in, right, and you know it's aligned, say yes. Don't wait. So, your life will likely get into a little bit of turmoil for a while, but it will be much better off for having done it in the mid to long term for sure. So say yes when that comes. All right, chickadees, that's it for today. I hope you have a fabulous day. We'll see you again tomorrow as we round out the week. Mwah. Love you all.